You see, I could say that the judge is violating the Criminal Proceedings Code of Ukraine maybe every minute or even every second. The judge is absolutely conducted from the president's administration. The judge is not independent and the whole judiciary system of Ukraine. You see, the year ago, the nowadays government adopted the new law, the new judiciary law, and according to that law, the constitutional body, which is named the Supreme Council of Justice, it received a new anti-constitutional powers to fire every judge. So every judge in Ukraine could be fired in 2 weeks, and every judge in Ukraine is not independent and it is conducted by the government. So that judge who is hearing the case, that's the reflection of what the government wants to see, or how the government wants to see the judge. He's young, he's ambitious, he don't know the law, he just want to fulfill all the orders that he received. He is not making any decisions. He is just fulfilling the orders that he received, and you see, he made the only decision by himself, but that was the biggest mistake, that he allowed the press to be present for the first 5 or 7 days of hearings, and then he canceled that decision pressed by his political leader. Absolutely. So we could say that that's just how the nowadays government struggle against their political opponents. I could say that maybe 10 or 12 people from the previous government are now imprisoned or under detention.
You see, it's impossible to surprise us after this power came to lead our country, because this process is the best result of all things that we say about the stop of democracy in Ukraine, when we are saying about the new process, when we do not have a freedom of speech, when we do not have political freedoms, when we do not have economical freedoms. And this process shows this very correctly, that really we now have a power not of pro-Ukrainian forces, but we have a power of mafia that now are on the main cabinets all over the Ukraine. Even this arrest, we can find answer not only in Ukraine, but in the European structures, because we are members of Council of Europe, and so Strasbourg Court that solve all these problems, I now think it will be the last court that will solve a problem of Tymoshenko as well. And because it's a political process, I think that the answer of Strasbourg Court will be just direct. So I think that it's only a start of this process. And when Yanukovych thinks that he will solve all problems in Ukrainian courts, that he control unanimously on all levels, I think it's only the beginning. So for us, this process is a process to show that the system of corruption, it's only a problem, not only a problem of president or of the government. It's a problem also of our courts. And we need real changes, not only in the high levels and top levels of this power, but we need changes in court system as well. I think that now we have really too much support from European structures, from the United States, especially the declaration of highest authorities of the United States. We have a very, I think, honest position of Russia that struggle, of course, for their own interests, but this process shows first time that 3 main players in world history and in world policy, United States, Europe and Russia, say the same. Yeah. So it's really true that Tymoshenko is innocent. Right. So we have now a real support. But in our negotiations with the European Union, we do not want to use this process for economical meaning. Tymoshenko herself declared that we are for free trade with European Union. Even if this process will be the same way as we have now, because it's a strategic interest of Ukraine. This now, it's a tactic interest. But real strategy is to show that it's impossible to have free market society when it's no other freedoms, freedom of speech and other freedoms. So it's a good example when our government tried to use another game. I think this game will not have some success.
In both Ukraine and the West, and especially America, the general sense is that without a revolution, that there's no way that this is going to be resolved. Do you agree? And if so, can you explain?
You see,
what does a revolution mean?
Revolution is other answer when it's impossible to make evolution. The best way of evolution is the way of honest, open elections.
Right.
If there will not, we will have possibility to have honest, open elections. I think the only answer, like it was 5 years ago, it will be revolution. First of all, it will be a real struggle in parliamentary elections, and we think that we have all possibility to win these elections. So, of course, I don't think that this president, with his methods of work, with these violations of the law, violations of freedoms, violation of market economy thinking, I think that this president will not have possibility to be in his office 5 years and a half as he think about this.
Right, I definitely, okay. Next question is that basically, along these lines, could you explain what you have organized in terms of the opposition forces in reaction to the Tymoshenko arrest?
Yeah.
What is this coalition and what is its goal?
We have organized, first in the history of Ukraine, we never had this, that all opposition parties are now united in one anti-dictatorship movement. We have such traditions, but it's in Ukrainian it's KOD, code. It's anti-dictatorship movement. So for us, we have 4 main tasks. First task is to organize all this process against Tymoshenko to show for all world that this process is a political process. Second, we want to use for this the main events in our life. We have 20th anniversary of independence, and so we want to organize a mass demonstrations on this day. Fourth, we have a start of our parliamentary work at the 6th of September, and we want to use parliament and the start of this work in order to show for Ukrainian people, first of all, and for all world, that dictatorship now is ruling now in Ukraine. So for us, this is the most important.
So you're saying you're having a rally for Independence Day, which is Wednesday the 24th.
Yeah.
What are you intending to do on this day?
It will be a meeting, but this meeting, it's a tradition in Ukraine. If there really, we have a lot of people on the streets, it shows the support of opposition. So it will be a good example where the opposition has its support. And we think that the 24th of August will be the real date of the real struggle with this dictatorship regime.
How many people are you expecting?
We are expecting thousands of people, and we will have this answer just in 2 days.
And in comparison, how many people were out in 2004?
You see, of course, it was hundreds of thousands of people, but I can say only that at first day it was only 5,000 of people. But in 2 weeks we have really hundreds of thousands of people.
And in this coalition of anti-dictatorship, you're laying out a policy for it, yes?
Yes,
I mean,
yes, of course.
not
We
just-
have a political.
not
We have a
just- not
political
just one
demands.
ideology, but
Of course, we have a political demands, and first demand, I think it's second demand, and the last
what
one
are
demand.
your demands?
First, and the main demand, we need a new power, and we need a new
When?
elections.
When do you need a new power?
We need new elections, first of all, parliament and president elections this year. And I think that if people support us, we will have all possibility to do this.
Ну, В этом процессе меня поражает просто, вот, знаете, беспредел, другого слова я не назову, власти по отношению вот к этому суду. Вот, ну, тут ничего общего просто с нормальным судом, там, европейским и другим нет. Все заранее продумано, судья заранее назначен, прокуроры говорят только, допустим, в одну сторону. Вот даже такой факт, что из заявленных 39 свидетелей от Юлии Владимировны был услышан и вызван только один свидетель. Все. О чем можно говорить?
И что, как ваше мнение, Запад обращается к этому?
Я считаю, что Запад пока вот присматривается. Да, есть заявления, мы видим, вот, как реагируют. Но хотелось бы, чтобы это было, вот, скажем, на более высоких уровнях. Так вот надо говорить. Но вот даже тот факт, смотрите, уже 5 дней Юлия Владимировна просит, дайте мне врача. Я хочу, чтобы меня осмотрел врач, которому я доверяю. Пускай это будет в присутствии там, чиновников Министерства там, охраны здоровья. Но ей не дают. Но это же уже как? Это называется уже физическое уничтожение, понимаете?
There are two different stories. For Ukrainian democratic forces to get reunited after being disrupted by Yushchenko, it is not that easy task. Strangely, but those who were saying that we are going to get united, but without Yulia Tymoshenko, strangely to say, but finally when she was put to jail or into custody, so they finally started to say, okay, we are ready to get united. So this is what we see now. About the timing of the West to understand what is going on in Ukraine, you know, I understand that from the very beginning they wanted to give him, a credit to try to do something in order to evaluate. But it was obvious for us from the very beginning that starting as of March last year, he created the situation by which they breached the constitution by unconstitutionally creating the majority in the parliament. So from this action, they started to neglect the rule of law in Ukraine and democracy in Ukraine. So this was the beginning.
Okay,
so why the European Union and the other capitals did realize this so late? So because they were trying to give him some time to prove that he is wishing developing Ukraine in the